Hello, guys. How are you? Today, we are going to start with our review of the units. So, this is the first review, right? It's the review of Unit 1. So, first, we are going to start with our vocabulary. If you remember, in Unit number 1, we were talking about our hobbies. So, please repeat after me. Play tennis. Do origami. Draw. Collect comic books. Play the guitar. Clothes. So clothes is the word that we use in general, right? To refer to dresses, sweaters, skirts. Now repeat. Learn. So what's the meaning of learn? Learn is to get knowledge or skill in a new subject or activity, right? Repeat. Dangerous. So what's the meaning of dangerous? Is something that is not safe, right? Repeat. Different. So what's the meaning of different? Not the same, right? So here in the picture, we have two red apples and they are the same. And then there is another one that is color green, right? So that apple is different from the others. Repeat. Carry. So what's the meaning of carry? Take something from one place to another. In this case, in the picture, we have a boy that is carrying his backpack, right? I think that backpack is too heavy, right? Poor boy. Repeat. Messy. So what's the meaning of messy? Not clean and tidy, right? So messy is the opposite of clean. In the picture, we have the picture of a messy room, right? The clothes are everywhere. The computer is on the bed, right? It is a messy room. So now, let's continue with this activity. So please take out your notebook and write numbers from 1 to 10. So in your notebook, write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So remember, just write the answer, not the complete sentence, right? Just the answer. So in this exercise, we are going to complete the sentences using the words in the box. So first, I'm going to read the words that are in the box. So we have comic, weekdays, volleyball, messy, collects, origami, tasks, karate, weekends, twice. So number 1, in many countries are Monday through Friday. So Monday to Friday. So write the answer. Number 2, I love to paint, but it's a hobby. Number 3, Mickey stamps from many countries. Mickey stamps from many countries. Number 4, Peter likes to read books. So what kind of books? Number 5. Do you like to play on the beach? So, do you like to play? Which game? Number 6. We visit my grandparents a week on Thursdays and Saturdays. Number 7. One of my today is to clean my bedroom. Number 8. My brother loves martial arts. He does in his club. Number 9. Sarah likes to make birds from paper. And number 10, we don't have to go to school on. Let's check our answers. So, number 1, in many countries, weekdays are Monday through Friday. Number 2, I love to paint, but it's a messy hobby, right? Number 3, Mickey collect stamps from many countries. Number 4, Peter likes to read comic books. Number 5, do you like to play volleyball on the beach? Number 6, we visit my grandparents twice a week on Thursdays and Saturdays. Number 7, one of my tasks today is to clean my bedroom. Number 8, my brother loves martial arts. He does karate in his club. Number 9, Sarah likes to make origami birds from paper. And number 10, we don't have to go to school on weekends, right? We don't have to go to school on Saturday and Sunday, right? So now, let's go to the next activity. In the next activity, I'm going to read this article. So pay a lot of attention because then you have to answer some questions about it. Also pay a lot of attention in the words that are in blue, right? So I'm start reading. What does Hassan like to do? Hassan has a very interesting hobby. What does he like to do? He likes to collect tropical fish. In his bedroom has a giant aquarium all around the wall. How often does he collect fish? He likes to collect fish 4 times a year. His first fish was an angelfish. The only problem is that they can eat smaller fish. Hassan and his family visited many countries years ago. In Australia, he likes to dive in the beautiful ocean. Now he's 14. He has had his big aquarium for 3 years since he was 11. Last year, when Hassan was in the Caribbean for his holiday, he saw sharks when he was diving. He wants to have an aquarium where he can keep 1 or 2 small sharks, but it's quite difficult in England. He worked as a volunteer at the aquarium of his local zoo. There, he can feed the big fish. He hasn't fed the sharks yet because he's too young. Right? So we have 3 words in blue. He likes to collect tropical fish. They can eat smaller fish. And where he can keep one or two small sharks. So now, let's see. In your notebook, you are going to write numbers from 1 to 6, right? So write it number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, and number 6, because you are going to answer the next questions. Number 1 says, what does he like to do? Remember, what does he like to do? Number 2, how often does he like to collect fish? Remember that how often is a question of frequency. How often does he like to collect fish? Number 3, where does he have a big aquarium? Where does he have a big aquarium? Where is a question of place, right? So where? Number 4, where did he see big sharks when he was diving? Where did he see big sharks when he was diving? Now, number 5, does Hassan feed sharks? Yes or no? Does Hassan feed sharks? Now, what or who do the underlined words refer to? So he refers to what? Who is he? Check that he is in the first line. Now, they refers to, we have the only problem is that they can eat smaller fish. So who is they? They refers to, and the last one, where. He wants to have an aquarium where he can keep one or two small sharks, but it's quite difficult in England. Okay, so number 1 says, What does he like to do? So, he likes to collect fish. Remember, in that question, they are asking about Hassan, right? He. So we answer he. The verb is like, so we answer likes because we are talking about a boy, right? Remember, when we use likes, we use likes to and the verb in infinitive. So he likes to collect fish. How often does he like to collect fish? He likes to collect fish 4 times a year. The frequency is 4 times, right? Where does he have a big aquarium? So he has a big aquarium in his bedroom. Remember, the verb is have, but when we are talking about he, she, or it, we use has. Where did he see big sharks when he was diving? So he saw big sharks in the Caribbean Sea. Here the verb is in past because the auxiliary of the question is did. So that means that we are talking about the past. So in the answer, we are going to use a verb in past. He saw big sharks in the Caribbean Sea, and you can complete it when he was diving, right? But in the Caribbean Sea, it's okay. Does Hassan feed sharks? No, he doesn't, right? So now, what or who do the underlined words refer to? So number one is he. So who is he? Hassan. They, the fish, right? The angel fish. And where? In England, you can have sharks at your house, right? So now, let's go to the next part. In the next part, we are going to review a little bit the grammar that we learned in that unit. So if you remember to talk about our hobbies and our interests, we use I like to, right? And then the activity that we like to do. So for example, I like to do origami. What happened when we are talking about a boy or a girl? If you remember, when we are talking about boys and girls, we are going to use an S at the verb. So instead of like, we use likes. So he likes to play soccer. She likes to collect comic books. And then we have they like to draw. So remember to talk about hobbies or interest. You're going to use like to or likes to. If it is a negative, remember that we use instead of I like to, I don't like to, right? And instead of he likes to, the negative is he doesn't like to, right? Now, what about the questions? Remember that we learned that maybe if you want to know about the interest of someone, you can ask maybe, do you like to do origami? Do you like to play the guitar? But it is going to take a lot of time, right? To guess what is his or her hobby. So if you want to know quickly about the hobby of someone, it's easier to make this question. What do you like to do? Right? I like to do origami. Or what do they like to do? They like to draw. What happens if you want to talk or if you want to ask about a boy or a girl? What is going to change? If you remember, if we make questions for boys and girls, instead of do, we use those, right? And in the answer, we are going to use an S on the verb. So what does he like to do? So in the question, the verb like doesn't need an S because we are using those, right? So what does he like to do? He likes to play soccer. What does she like to do? She likes to collect comic books. Now, if we want to know about the frequency of that hobby, instead of what, we are going to use how often. Remember, how often ask for the frequency, right? So how often do you do origami? I do origami once a month, right? How often do they draw? They draw twice a week. How often does he play soccer? He plays soccer 3 times a year. How often does she read? She reads 4 times a month. So remember, if we are asking for you or they, we are going to use do. If we are asking about he or she, we are going to use those. But the question word, how often, ask for a frequency. So which are the frequencies? The number of times that you do an activity. For example, we have there once a month, twice a week, 3 times a year, 4 times a month. Also, in that unit, we learn to ask about some specific dates, right? So we are going to use when to ask for the date of an activity. For example, when do you do origami? I do origami on Mondays after school. When do they draw? They draw before school. It is in a specific time, right? When does he play soccer? He plays soccer after school. When does she read? She reads on Sundays. Remember that we add an S to the days of the week because it's a routine. It's something that we do all Mondays, all Sundays, right? It is a routine. For that reason, we use on Mondays, on Sundays. Also, you can use after school, before school. So if you notice, it is different to ask when, because when we ask when, we answer with a specific time. And when we ask with how often, we answer with the frequency, the number of times. So now we have, in this exercise, we are going to match the questions to the answers. So we have 5 questions. So please, in your notebook, write the numbers from 1 to 5. So write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, So I'm going to read the answers and then we're going to match it with the questions. So let's read the answers that are in the box. The first one says, they like to shop at the mall. Next one, I like to play the guitar and sing. Next one, no, I don't. I never practice on weekdays. Next one, he plays twice a week after school. Next one, she plays on weekends. So the first question says, what do you like to do? So please look for the answer. Next one, what do your sisters like to do on the weekend? Next one, how often does your brother play soccer? Number 4, when does Amy play tennis? And the last one, do you like to practice piano after school? So let's check our answers. Number 1, what do you like to do? I like to play the guitar and sing. Number 2, what do your sisters like to do on the weekend? So remember, sisters, they are 2, right? So they like to shop at the mall. Number 3, how often does your brother play soccer? Remember, how often? Frequency, right? So how often does your brother play soccer? He plays twice a week after school. When does Amy play tennis? When is a specific time, right? So when does Amy play tennis? She plays on weekends. And the last one, number 5. Do you like to practice piano after school? Yes or no? No, I don't. I never practice on weekdays. So now let's go to the next activity. In the next activity, we have a video, right? We're going to watch again the video of Burger. It's the video of unit number 1. And then we are going to answer some activities about the video. So let me play the video, right?
At first, Mary Lou Robertson felt very lonely when she moved to her new home in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. But then, she made some new friends. But her new friends weren't boys or girls. They were birds. Every morning, Mary Lou goes out to watch the birds in her area. She needs to stay very quiet and still. Mary Lou first became interested in birds when her teacher asked her to write about a bird for a school project. But watching and writing about birds soon became her hobby. She often goes to parks or wildlife areas and watches the different birds. She knows many different types of birds, but sometimes she finds a new one.
I don't know what that is. Whoa.
Mary Lou uses the internet to find out more about new birds and sometimes draws pictures of them, which she used to make her own book about birds.
Hi, my name is Aussie the Osprey. I live in rivers, lakes, and coastal waterways. Hi, I'm Olivia the Owl. I give 6 deep hoots.
Mary Lou still likes to do the same things as other children. She plays with her brother and sister and likes to go swimming. But after spending time watching birds, she thinks a little differently.
I feel that everything around me is important. I look at everything I can.
Everything she sees might be something exciting and a chance to learn something new.
Okay, so let's continue with the activities. In your notebook, write number 1 and number 2. So we're going to answer those questions about the girl. So number 1 is, where's the girl? So where is she? Number 2, what do you think she is doing? So what is she doing? So number 1, where is the girl? She is in the park. Number 2, what do you think she is doing? She is bird watching, right? So now, in the next activity, we have write the activities in the correct column. So in your notebook, you have to draw a chart and divide it into 2 columns. In the first column, the title is going to be Daily Routine. In the second column, the title is going to be Hobbies. So please draw the chart in your notebook and divide it. Okay, so I'm going to read the words that are in the box and you are going to classify them into the correct column. So the first one is bird watch. So bird watch is a daily routine or is it a hobby? Next one, collect comic books. Next, go to school. Number 4, play video games. Number 5, brush your teeth. Number 6, draw or paint. Number 7, get ready. And number 8, go to bed. So let's check our answers, right? So bird watch, is it a hobby or is it a daily routine? It is a hobby, right? Collect comic books. It is a hobby. Go to school. It is a daily routine. It's an activity that we do every day. Play video games. It is a hobby. I know that it is a daily routine for some of you, right? Okay, so next one, brush your teeth. It is a daily routine. Draw or paint. It is a hobby. Get ready, a daily routine, and go to bed, a daily routine, right? So let's go to the next activity. In the next activity, what are we going to do? You are going to write numbers from 1 to 4 in your notebook. So write 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you are going to circle the correct answer. So what are you going to do in your notebook? You are going to write the correct answer. So number 1 says, every morning or every evening, Mary Lou goes out to watch the birds in her area. Number 2, she goes to the library or she uses the internet to learn more about birds. Number 3, she made a website or she wrote a book about birds. Number 4, she likes to swim or she likes to watch birds with her brother and sister. So number 1, every morning, Mary Lou goes out to watch the birds in her area. Number 2, she uses the internet to learn more about birds. Number 3, she wrote a book about birds. Number 4, she likes to swim with her brother and sister. So let's go with the last exercise of unit number 1, right? So we have put the words in order to make a question or an answer. So please write in your notebook numbers from 1 to 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so let's see. In number 1, we have like Mary Lou to do those before school, what? So it is a question. So please order the question. Number 2, likes she birds to watch. So please order the answer of that question. Order the sentence. Number 3, she like with other kids to play those. Number 3 is a question. Number 4 is the answer, so please order it. Those she yes. Number 5, those birds she how often watch. So please order the question. Those birds she how often watch. Number 6 is the answer. Watches she everyday birds. Okay, so number 1. Like Mary Lou to do those before school, what? So the question is, what does Mary Lou like to do before school? What is a question word? Does, the auxiliary verb, the subject, Mary Lou, the verb, like to do, and the complement, before school, right? So what does Mary Lou like to do before school? So the answer is, she likes to watch birds. She, the subject, likes to watch the verb, and birds, the complement, right? Number 3, she like with other kids to play those. If it is a question, does she like to play with other kids? We start with those because we don't have a question word, right? So does she like to play with other kids? The answer is yes, she does. Number 5, those birds she how often watch. So we start with how often, very good, does she watch birds? And number 6, the answer of that question is she watches birds every day. Subject, verb, and complement, right? So this is the end of the review of unit number 1. So please go to the next video to review unit number 2.